Namaskar and welcome to Golden Epaulettes podcast by Pirates for Pilots. My name is Ronak and welcome you all in this new year, season's greetings, and let's hope you all have a wonderful year and may you be blessed with the best. Well, talking about today's guest, like I said, we've been trying to chase him, has taken a lot of our efforts, and finally, we get to have him in the New Year's as our first guest. He has been the front runner in Indian aviation as far as running a flight school goes. He himself is a private pilot license holder. That's how he gets his expertise of aviation from. The business acumen was always present. Although he's polished it throughout the years. It began in 2007 with 6 aircrafts, and now it is 23 aircrafts, 2 bases, and 20 on order. I have none other than Mr. Bayan Bobby Sharma. Hello, sir.
Hello, happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Affectionately called the Maverick. We all know him as the CEO of Chimes Aviation Academy. He's been with Chimes Aviation since the inception, and whatever the heights Chimes has reached today, including the fact that it is the only flying school in India that is tied up with IndiGo for its cadet pilot training, has been due to the consistent and the amazing effort done by this man right here. So, over to you. Start from the beginning.
Thank you very much for having me here. And thank you for the kind word. Not all of them are true. Because as you know, that any kind of success is normally due to a team which works together. And I've been fortunate to be part of a team led by our founder, Golden Epaulettes, and a great bunch of people who over the years have helped Chimes become what it is today.
Definitely. So, sir, you're a private pilot yourself, right? I'm sure that the foundation of building a flying school or few pointers here and there, I'm sure everything sort of boils back to you being in the flight school and observing at a very young age yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, because, it wasn't that I went out looking only for a private pilot license.
Right.
This was my choice of career. And, the time when I was doing my training, which was way back in 1988, the pathway to be followed was that you joined a flying school, club or a school, got your private pilot's license, which is roughly about 60 hours. And that time, the premier organization in the country was IndiGo, which used to accept students only after a private pilot license. They would take 20 students every 6 months. And we all used to apply for that and get a C-step.
20 every 6 months?
20 every 6 months. They used to train 40 people in a year in those days. Completed my private pilot's license from Karnal and then applied to IndiGo, got through. But my annual medical came up and I had a medical issue due to which I could not pursue this as a career. I could never have got a TPL issued. So I had to give it up.
But you didn't just give up yet.
And no, I had honestly no choice at that time. There was, not that much could do with a commerce degree and a private pilot license in the aviation space. So moved on to doing some other stuff. But because it was the first choice of career, a passion which was there with me, although there is a back of my mind, that, that's something which I wish it was. And I was very lucky that a chance conversation with our founder, Golden Epaulettes, we started discussing what is, in 2007, that what is the ecosystem present in the country, what can be done on flying training. And because I had done my private pilots and, in the whole ecosystem, and I had very strong views on what all prospective students suffered. So I just articulated that. I said, okay, this is wrong.
You're really
If a plate has to be there,
passionate about it.
to be. And I found that, his thoughts on, how an academy had to be, were practically the same. You could look, it had to be done. It had to be done properly.
You resonated.
So it resonated. Yeah. So why don't we look at doing that?
Are you sure it was a chance conversation?
It was totally, it started with the passion for bikes that both of us had. That was our common ground. And, it was just one of those conversations which led to what Chimes is today. So, he said, well, you come over, let's start this. And this was, I had given up from flying in 88. That was 2007.
Right.
So I said, look, I just have a private pilot license that really doesn't qualify for setting up a flight. He said, no, I think what it needs, more than anything else, is the passion to do it.
I think it's so for you.
And so let's try. And it was, a bit of a gamble because one wasn't exactly starting out young. So, but decided that, okay, fine, let's give it a shot. And Chimes Aviation saga happened in a record time of less than a year from deciding to go ahead with this project to actually getting an airfield, setting up everything, getting the aircraft in. We were the first flying training school stroke academy in the country, which gave a bulk order of absolutely brand new machines, which were next generation at that time, glass cockpit. Nobody had glass cockpit at that way. So we went for that and we broke ground at Sagar, started construction there in August of 2007. And February, March of 2008, we had the DVC approval to start operations. Though it is still date one of the fastest from scratch a project in aviation training at least. So that's how the journey started. And as I said, the only learning where whatever negative on a team, we make sure we don't do that. And built on that is okay. Just because you're not doing negative doesn't really mean you're doing everything positive.
Right.
So then we added the positives to it. And the intent was always that the quality of service has to be top-notch. That you do not shortchange the student on the quality of training, whether it is safety, whether it is, the kind of aircraft, the maintenance, the quality of instructors. So all of that is, the ecosystem you build in your academy, which gives you which is the character of the academy, and that is what is held us in good stead. That, whether it was, and we were very, that way, the timing couldn't have been more bad when we opened in 2008. 2008 was the time that there was an absolute slump in the market. So, very challenging time.
Yes.
But the one thing which we persisted with even then was that no shortcuts, no shortchanging the student in any way. And that is what has helped build the reputation over the years that these guys, they do their work properly. And, then when the good times came, that demand picked up. So we were always the first preferred flying school by students who wanted to do flying training. So we got our fair share of students. The number of hours grew. We added more aircraft to our fleet. And then into 2018, looking at our performance, reviewing that, IndiGo approved us as a partner for their correct pilot tour.
I was about to ask you that. The only flight school in the country to be associated with an airline that to like IndiGo with holding the largest, market share right now. I mean, did you have to propose it to them? Did they come to you? Is there a story there?
We obviously, we cheered them. We said, look, we guys are here, look at the record. And the good part which happened was that over before 2018, I'd say from 2014 onward, IndiGo had inducted a lot of our self-funded students, the ones who were our self-funded students.
As it's the norm, as was
That was the norm, and they helped create the impression inside IndiGo so that these trainees are good. Their level of knowledge, skill set is good, and I think that helped. Like, they did a complete evaluation. They came, visited our facility, spoke to our instructors, spoke to us, and that's how the journey started.
nice. That must have taken a while for them to come to.
Right. And, as they say that, nothing comes easy. We got the cadet program, and just as we launched and we're about to induct the first batch, COVID happened.
Oh, yeah.
So everything was put on ice. And, during COVID time, we still had a lot of our self-funded students. We managed to actually fly more in COVID than in other time. We created the bubble at Saudi, where we were fully residential academy with up till at the airfield itself. So we retained staff at the academy itself. So hardly anybody would go out of the Dana. And the way that it was a crisis, that was a worldwide crisis, the way it was handled was, I think, somewhere also helped in building the reputation that, the guys, they do their work properly.
Yeah, I mean, you found a loophole in COVID.
And then when COVID eased and they go say, okay, fine, let's start the program now.
Wonderful.
And we started the program, and we've done now a bunch of batches for them.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. And in fact, we did, IndiGo also has something called the Family Fly Program.
Okay.
Which is for their employee or their children. And so we got a huge number of people from that batch. A lot of them whose parents were pilots themselves. And the way the training of those two these happened, the pilots, because it was their field, they were monitoring.
Exactly.
And I think that has helped us a lot because, they had their internal captains actually validating that, yes, the training at Chimes is good.
You were under the lens. Like,
yes. So
I mean,
it has its plus points and minus points, but in our case, touchwood, it has been more pluses.
You absorbed the good out of it.
That, it's helped us that, we got what I can say expert validation.
Right.
Or, the way we conduct our flight.
Right.
So today we are in a happy situation where we are contracted to do 140 pilots for them per year, which is much more than any of the other channel partners that they have.
Right.
And I take, even if I may say so myself, I take that as a testimony of the confidence that IndiGo has on the delivery that we are doing.
Right. Absolutely. Fine, sir. Another thing which is commonly asked, and it's just the most floating around subject or most talked about subject, is that the fact that why should we go to Chimes Aviation in India as opposed to other good organizations outside of India where they have, a facility to do all the maneuvers, good instrument flying, exposure to airspaces, different culture. So the students think there's so much they're getting going outside of the country to a flying school rather than coming to any school, be it Chimes Aviation, in the country. What's your take of that?
So I'd like to answer this question in, not as why Chime, but why an Indian footprint versus a world footprint. So for that, I'd like to go a little back in history. That prior to, I would say, BC, before Chimes and after Chimes. Okay. So before Chimes, you had these small class. 3 machines, 50 students. So it used to take anything from 2.5 to 3 years just to complete a commercial pilot's license. And that also, if you were there every day, then you did it in that much time. Because there were not enough flying assets. So at that time, it made sense going to the US, primarily US. People went to Europe, but mainly US, where every municipal field had more than 30 machines. So their availability of a flying asset was not a problem. So you could finish your ARD in 7 months, 8 months. If you could afford it, you went outside, did your flying there, came back and got your license. So you jump-started your career by about 2 years.
Yeah.
Now cut to what I say after Chimes 2007, that you have an organization here which has the machines where you can finish your flying in 1 year's time and fly the most modern 172 glass cockpits, Viper Archer DXs with the Garmin NXI, compared to going to the US. And majority of the flying schools there are flying 30-year-old, 35-year-old Piper Archers, Warriors, the Cessna 152s. For the multi, they fly the Duchesses, and the Seminoles. And the reason why, one is obviously, if you look at it from the perspective of an 18-year-old, which is the normal age at which people are going outside, choosing this as their career, an address like Miami, Florida, sounds so much more interesting than saying I'm going to Nagpur to fly or I'm going to Sadar to fly. So you're going to US, but it's not that you're going to Harvard. You are going to a flying club at that state which has more assets. So I would beg to disagree with you if you say that the quality of flying training is any better. Yes, quantity of flying.
I didn't say that. That's low.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, you said that they do instrument approaches. What do you think we do? We don't just go there and fly in circles for 200 hours. We do all the exercises which have to be done.
I mean, not as extensively as over there. And it's you doing it, not the other flight schools. Let's just
see. Again, as I said, that I would not like to say that we're the only kids on the block who do that. The flight training industry has such a reward. You have some very good players who are there. And they will quality work. It's not that, we're the only one doing course.
It's not just yet being recognized.
Sorry?
It's not just yet being recognized.
Yes, it's some, because it takes a little while. It took us a lot of time for us to be where we are today. I'm sure others will come up. And, I take more part of them. They should. Because India needs at least 4 or 5 organizations the size of what Chimes is today to cater to the demand that we have, the present demand of pilot, not counting the potential growth in numbers. So, there is what they say, enough meat on the bone for everybody.
There's enough to go around for everyone.
Absolutely.
So, in a nutshell, you're trying to tell us that we are stepping up the game. We have already stepped up the game. It's just that the recognition will follow, right?
Today, due to the new regulations, earlier you just went outside, did your commercial pilots, came back, submitted the paper to DDC and got your license. Right. Now, you have to give your 3 papers at this place. Go there, do your complete CPLG papers at that case, come back and then do your recipient and conversion flying.
Yes.
So, if you see the total time involved, you're not saving on time. Are you saving on money? Definitely not. The problem, as I said, lies in, today also, 80 to 90% of the prospective aspiring pilots come from non-aviation background.
True.
And, it's one of my biggest regrets that this generation has so much of knowledge which they can access, or information which they can access in the palm of their hand with the smartphones that they have. And for something which is their career, they don't do enough research on where to go. What are they going and signing up course? And because it's the start of their career, they don't even know what are the right questions to ask.
Okay, I'll ask that to you. If you were a parent of a person, of a child who wants to pursue flying right now, and if you were a child, a 18-year-old who wants to pursue the flying, do you tell me set of questions, which as a parent you would ask?
As a parent, I would, I'm given a boat that your training is going to cost X amount of money. Yeah. The first question that I'm going to ask is, okay, the money, do you guarantee that I'm going to finish my flight training and get that money? Or am I going to be told up extra at a later stage? One. Number two, what am I getting for this money? What aircraft is my child going to fly? What is the average age of your fleet? Is my child going to fly glass cockpit aircraft? Is he going to fly conventional aircraft? Okay. Then also the conversions, unfortunately what happens is, because as I said, it's the start of their career. They do not know the right question to ask. There have been many cases where people have come to us and then after finishing the flying training, have come here and then realized that what they've done there, a lot of it is not as per DGCA. Yeah. Minima required for issue of a license, which creates its own set of process delay, more money to be spent. One of the classic examples I take is, a lot of people come to me from Middle East. The first question I ask is, please show me what is your total cross country. Because DGCA, which is our regulatory body, understands cross country only as you leave point A and go 100 nautical miles out. In the Middle East, if you go 100 nautical miles, you're probably crossing two countries. So their cross countries may be 100 nautical miles, but not from right point of origin. So those kids who have gone there and flown those 50 hours, suddenly find they have to do those 50 hours all over again in India. So double your expense, more time. So, these are the things where they say, that awareness level of what my requirements are, the place where I'm going, is that fulfilling my requirements? What is the quality of the aircraft which I'm flying at that place? All of these are the questions which, as a parent or even as a student, I need to ask before I go signing up. Because one of the, one little catch here is that when you go apply to a flying school abroad, so the visa which is issued to you is issued, care of that flying school. Which means once you go there, and if for whatever reason awareness happens that, this is not what was advertised and I need to change, you can't just shift to the next flying school in the neighborhood there.
Unless you
have to cancel.
Yeah.
You'll hardly ever get your refund of the money that you've given to them. To come back, apply to a new school, get a new visa, and then go again. So, it becomes that you're committed to the journey where you cannot change, horses in the middle of the race. You have to go till the end. Whereas, if you were doing your program with us or anyone else in India, we're right here, we're accountable.
Yeah, I really like that accountability factor. You can approach a person, speak to someone in flesh and blood and be like, how's my child doing? Is he okay? Is she okay? And what are you going to do next about it? And the accountability is where I like the fact that students should prefer a domestic flight school as well.
People always talk about that, we have 200 hours of flying which are needed for a commercial pilot like that. The DGCA mandatory requirement of the various exercises, what you have to do to get the experience that you require, adds up to a total of roughly about 116, 170 hours. So you have 30 hours of buffer, which means that at any stage of training, if you need some more time to learn that particular stage, you have to buffer hours. It means that the ones flying in India normally manage to finish in at budget of 200 hours only.
Right.
I get a lot of these students who come from conversion flying, and seldom if ever I come across a child who can look me in the eye and say, I finished my complete flying in the hours which were told to me initially. So that's a very standard thing. It's part for the course for the people where you're told this exercise you didn't do well, you have to do additional. And when the child calls up home and they look, my instructors are saying I have to do this in extra. The parent can't say don't do this because you have to complete the journey. So a normal thumb rule which I found is that whatever is quoted to you, by the time you finish your CPO outside, you end up spending at least 20% more.
Yeah.
Minute.
Those are the hidden expenses, uncalled for expenses.
Correct. And it's not that, if you go to the airline and you say, I've done my flying training from America, they consider that you've done something very great or whatever.
Yeah.
They're also aware of what is the training standard of that thing. So in fact, when you go for your airline interview, one of the first questions they ask you to where have you done your flight training from? And every organization had the reputation they know of.
So,
Or a few of them.
So do you think Chimes kids have an edge there? Would you like to think that?
Let me just say that, we've, it's been a pleasant experience where, we found even the people who sit in interview boards tell us that, if the child tells us that, he's from Chimes, so mentally, we are already thinking that, yes, he should be, he's good and, so that, that we thank God, we say thank you very much, and we say, we feel good about that fact that, that maybe whatever we're doing is right, and the industry appreciates it, the industry recognizes it, and that's the validation you need.
Yes, that indeed is enough of a validation you need, and I'm so glad that Chimes and students from Chimes have that, and that does create a sort of latent power in themselves as well when they're going for an interview or an interaction. Right, that's that. Another thing is, I've been often asked this. What's your take on the current market in Indian aviation as far as the instructors go? Not just the airline pilots. The ancillary supporting services, which turns out are very, very important.
No doubt, instructors, we are challenged in this country because obviously with the demand for pilots being there from the airline, so not very many people remain in instructional flying. So, and obviously you cannot do good training if you don't have good instructors. So Chimes has looked at it very, very carefully, and we thank IndiGo for that, we have jointly with IndiGo devised a plan which is like they have a cadet program, which is that they take a student and he does his training, self-funded, and then moves to the airline.
Right.
They also have an instructor retention plan with IndiGo, with Chimes, which we've jointly launched, in which we identify a person who wants to be an instructor. We evaluate him. We put him up to IndiGo. IndiGo evaluates him. And if found suitable, that person is given an LOI right now that if you become an instructor and spend 2 years instructing IndiGo cadets at Chimes Aviation, you will automatically get inducted in the airline. So their job with the airline is secured. Their type rating cost is borne by the airline and us jointly.
Okay.
So they do not need to spend a penny more ahead of their commercial pilot's license and get to the right seat of a airline aircraft.
Oh, that's wonderful. I am sure less people knew about it. We are going to be mentioning an email for Chimes Aviation Academy. In case you have any queries regarding this particular instructor program or any other query, please feel to drop them an email and you would be immediately replied to. All right, Vine sir, thank you for that information. With the instructor retention plan, I'm sure you'll get ample of great instructors, but there's this thing with the upkeep. There's this thing with the training of the instructors. I'm sure you've given it due thought as well. What's going to happen there?
As I said at the beginning when we started this podcast, I told you that Chimes has been blessed that we've always had the right team of people coming in. One of the founder members of the team, has been our first CFI, Captain BP Singh, who hung up his flying boots a little while back. He's our Academy Director and Chief Ground Instructor presently. And he is the one who is entrusted with the training of our instructors as such.
Oh, lovely.
So, being an A2 instructor and then so much time in the civil side being an instructor, whatever his experience and knowledge is over the years, he's eager to pass it on to the new lot, as they say, hand the baton. And that is what he does. And that is how we ensure that the people that we do pick up, they learn the right way and then in turn deliver a quality training experience to the students.
So, apart from you looking at the business aspect of it, we do have BP sir looking at the training aspect of it and working at it continuously. And I'm sure if he's at it, there must be something good happening over there. All right, so that's taken care of as well. Because I did ask that because in airlines as well and in a flight school as well, the training and upkeep of it is a real issue. Apart from the initial
it's a continuous
training.
process.
It's a
you know,
continuous
it's a continuous
process. The challenging process
You
as
you
well.
set a standard and then you have to maintain the standard.
Right.
So that is that is where I always say that on the quality side of our training, Captain BP Singh is our conscience keeper who sort of keeps it all together,
Right.
and make sure that our instructors also
Right.
are well qualified and are delivering the training
And
the
he's
right way.
based right there at Dhana,
Of
right?
course, of course.
For this very purpose, he's based
Yes,
right there at
yes,
Dhana,
yes, correct.
directly monitoring. Nobody even needs to travel from Delhi,
Absolutely,
etc.
absolutely.
That's 24/7 monitoring. All right, wonderful. That's good to know. Fine, so having said that about BP sir looking after the training aspect of it, what I've observed is the last 2 years has not been very good for Indian aviation in the training area, particularly with the kind of news we've had, with the kind of accidents and incidents that have been reported. Where does Chimes stand in this?
Chimes, Touchwood, we've not had. We had one incident in the recent past, but besides that, the record has been fairly spotless. And the accident also that we had a few years back. Accidents, as you know, in this country are investigated by AIB, which is the Accident Investigation Bureau, which goes completely into what are the aspects, what caused the crash, who was at fault. So the reports are then they're in the public domain.
It was not attributed to your training.
It was never attributed to us.
Yeah.
And if you see the overall average of number of hours flown versus if there had been an incident or an accident, our average is as per I'd say better than even the international standards which are there, and that's a testimony to the practices, the safety practices, the procedures that we follow at our place, the quality of the maintenance of our machines, and all these things contribute to giving you a safer flying environment.
I agree. Have there been any learnings that you have taken to the Neemuch airfield now from Dhana?
Of course, you always say that whenever you, and because Dhana was our first project, so when we launched it and we touchwood have run it successfully, it still is running very well. But there were obviously certain things you feel that you could have done better. And those are the learnings that we took to Neemuch, and we've done that. And it's a constant learning process. I'm sure when we open base 3, there would be some learnings from Neemuch which would help us make base 3 better.
Right.
And improve base 2 and base 1 also.
I agree. Do we see Chimes venturing out of India?
Honestly, prima facie, if you ask me, no, and I'm not trying to make a statement, but in this matter, we are a little how should I put it?
Conservative.
I'm like, why do I need to?
Why do you need to?
We can do everything here in India, then why should I go and do this outside?
Okay, so no plans for outside.
Having said that, but having said that, There are some constraints which are there in operating, and if you have to grow beyond a certain stage, maybe, as they say never.
Never say never. Okay.
So open, but if you ask me right now, am I actively evaluating, looking at starting a base somewhere else? I would still say that there's yet more to do, or what we can achieve here in India, and the focus right now of our group is that, and then we take it further from there.
Right. And this is me asking you that. Any Chimes entering into general aviation anytime soon?
Uh, you know, we've evaluated that business. Like you are in the aviation business, not just charter business. We've looked at the simulator space also, like any growing dynamic group would. We've looked at all of it, and I would say that it is more a matter of time when we'd take that call. But as of right now, the focus is very firmly on making this Chimes Aviation training not just number one in India. I think we're there, but you can argue with that. But in Southeast Asia, that I remember a time that people used to come from Southeast Asia, all over from Southeast Asia, Arab countries, African countries, to train in India. And it's it's a regret that I have, that we somehow have lost our way on that it doesn't happen anymore. And I'd like to see that happen. I don't see any reason why somebody from a neighboring country goes to the United States of America to fly and doesn't come to India.
Absolutely.
So that is one of the things on our wish list, that we need to be the first preferred choice for at least the SARC region to look at. If they wanted to go do flying training, they need to look at us, look at India.
So no branching out as of yet, but never say never.
Never, never.
We will see when it comes to that. All right, that's wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so very much, Y.N. sir. It was delightful to have this conversation with you. Well, that was Mr. Y.N.Sharma, who has been one of the founding members of Chimes Aviation Academy since 2007, continues to be the CEO of Chimes Aviation today, and has almost nurtured the organization like one of his own children, and has dynamic and super aspirational plans within India and outside of it for the future. Please keep watching Golden Epaulettes Aviation. You may continue watching Golden Epaulettes Aviation for more such content by pilots for pilots. Thank you.